should I have
Welcome to Media Path. I'm Fritz Coleman.
And I'm Louise Palanker.
Here on Media Path, we gently guide you toward entertainment content that's interesting, maybe undiscovered, but at the very least, not a waste of your time. And we love to welcome talented guests as well. Today we have three amazing stories to tell you. Three singers, songwriters, music producers. One of the magical things they have in common is that they were the force behind the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, the sleeper hit movie with Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey that burst onto the scene in 1987 and earned them wild success, along with an Oscar and a Golden Globe, a Grammy nomination, and an Ascap Award. We're going to learn all about it. They are Frankie Previtt, DeNicola and Stacy Widelitz, and they'll be on in just a second. But first, Wheezy, we have to address the tuxedo-wearing elephant in the room. From Oscars Sunday night, the slap heard round the world, the Will Smith, Chris Rock smackdown. Tell me what you're feeling about that thing.
So it just kind of immediately, I was just consumed by feelings that I couldn't express them. So I kind of wrote down my thoughts, and here they are. Immediately following the incident, white people were told on Twitter that we dare not have an opinion about black women and their hair, or the ways in which black men protect black women. I hear that, and I will not weigh in on that portion of the dispute. As a comedian, I get to have an opinion about telling an offensive joke. I have done that. I have never been assaulted. There have been thousands of jokes told at the Oscars or at celebrity roasts that have hurt or offended or opened a wound or disrespected someone's history or added fuel to a feud. Nobody got clocked. As we are watching in horror the violence unfolding across Europe, we saw a guy get angry, walk up onto a stage, and smack another man in the face. We then celebrated, cheered, and applauded as that assailant was honored for his good work. If Will Smith had leaned into the microphone and said, "My wife has alopecia," and then glared at Chris Rock and taken his seat, it would have been a powerful moment. Instead, it's an ugly moment that tarnished the evening for Questlove and the Coda team and Jane Campion and so many other great artists. I am hopeful that the event will evolve into conversations about alopecia and also about men who cry with their fists or with bullets. Because if he was willing to commit that assault publicly and then use his speech not to apologize but to justify his actions, then he has a problem. And many people live in households with such a person. The smallest slight ignites rage and violence. That should be the next conversation. Now, Chris Rock, how can you make a film like Good Hair and then talk any smack at all about a woman's style? It's either her choice or it's what she is working with. You know better. And G.I. Jane jokes are so very 90s. Demi and Jada look super cute. Shut it. So Fritz, your Fritz, your thoughts.
Well, violence is inexcusable. If Will was sticking up for Jada, he should have done it off stage. Mm-hmm. I would, him clocking him behind the curtain would have made more sense to me. But honestly, I don't think that Chris knew about Jada's condition, nor would he have made a joke about it if he had known. I was watching in a room full of 20 people. Not one person knew that she suffered from alopecia. They said it was a commonly known thing. Nobody I was with had ever heard that. Now, they had priors from a joke Chris told about Jada in the 2016 Oscars when he was hosting. So in Will's mind, this may have been a callback to that joke and a bridge too far. Now, there's a discussion about taking his Oscar away from him. I don't think they need to do that.
No.
It's the old argument that you have to separate the art from the artists. I call it the Woody Allen syndrome. When you watch further Will Smith performances, will you be able to suspend your disbelief long enough to get him lost in the character? That'll be the big question. I also think Will missed, as you said, a chance to rehabilitate himself. When he won his Oscar, he might have apologized to Chris, the Academy, the entire planet, mentioned Jada's disease, did a mea culpa for the inappropriate response, maybe even invited Chris back on stage for a hug, That didn't happen. He apologized to the Academy, but then he went off on this self-important rant about wanting to be a vessel for love and a force for good in the world. Even Bishop Desmond Tutu would have said, tone it down, dude. I've known Will since Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was shot in the NBC lot where I worked for 35 years. He was a gifted performer, a very special young man, and I'm very sad that this event came off like it did because, as you mentioned, it tainted everybody's Oscars after that, even the winners. So sad. That's enough of that.
I would love to hear what our guests. Well, you can introduce our guests, but then I would love to hear what they.
Yeah, they got an Oscar. They've been on that stage.
They never smacked
Maybe they
anyone.
punched somebody that we don't know about. Yeah. Three gentlemen that shared the magical experience of composing music for the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. They won an Oscar, a Golden Globe, a Grammy nomination, an Ascap Award for their work. Frankie Previtt is a singer and songwriter. You may remember him as part of the rock quintet Frankie and the Knockouts. They had 3 top 40 singles and 2 top 50 albums. Their biggest hit was Sweetheart. It was a top 10 hit in 1981. He was the co-writer on I've Had the Time of My Life and Hungry Eyes from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. Eric Carmen, a good friend of Wheezy's, went on to have a hit with Hungry Eyes. John DeNicola is a songwriter and producer who co-wrote I've Had the Time of My Life. He also wrote songs for Eddie Money and John Waite. He's produced lots of albums in his own studio, including a band called Kara's Flowers, which went on to become Maroon 5. Are you kidding me? He released a debut album of songs he wrote called The Why Because. It's a great name for an album, which includes versions of Hungry Eyes and I've Had the Time of My Life. And Stacy Widelitz has scored many television shows and films for both daytime and primetime television. At only 24 years old, he scored the theme for The Richard Simmons Show. So when you were trying to look good at those disgustingly small shorts, trying to imitate Richard Simmons, you were dancing to his music, which is hard to believe. His connection to the Dirty Dancing experience was one of those cosmic accidents. He and Patrick Swayze were neighbors. Patrick had an idea for a song, and Stacy helped him with it. The song was called She's Like the Wind, which ended up on the soundtrack as well. And after many years of scoring television and film in Los Angeles, he moved to Nashville. He ran for public office down there, became a city commissioner in the community of Oak Hill. He also became the board president of the Nashville Film Festival and is currently, I think he is still, the president of the Nashville Opera Guild. Talented man who also did music for the other Patrick Swayze film that I saw, Roadhouse and 50 Days of Summer. Gents, we're so happy to have you here today. I hope we can pack this all in an hour. So glad you're here.
Here, I think you just did the interview for us.
No. I wanted to say it's hard doing 3 people who have had diverse yet slightly connected careers, and I wanted to give you all your due because that makes it's like the founding fathers of the United States. All these geniuses came together for one creative process.
It's a supergroup.
And since we have still the low-grade Oscar fever, Frankie and John, set up that moment when you walked on stage and the sights and sounds of taking home that statue, something that very few people on the planet understand.
Well, first, I want to kind of clarify one thing that you left out. John also is the co-writer of Hungry Eyes with me as well as Time of My Life. And so
right.
that was actually the first song we ever wrote together. So I didn't want to leave that out.
No, and that also, you released that with Frankie and the Knockouts a few years before the soundtrack came out, right?
Not really released it. It was a demo that was going to be for Knockouts' next record. And John released it about 2 years ago, and it went like number 22 on the AC chart. So the song has had many lives, but nothing like the life it had with Dirty Dancing and Eric Carmen's version. My experience of being at the Academy Awards, I had my mother and father sitting left and right of me. And I remember listening to all the songs, and my father, being the Italian that he was, looked at me and said, I just heard all the songs. And he said, you're going to win. And I just looked at him and I was like, do not put the Maloiki on me. And so when they announced the winner, which was Liza Minnelli, was one of the presenters along with Dudley Moore. And I had said to John and Don Markowitz, who was the other co-writer of Time of My Life, you're sitting close to the aisle. I'm in the middle of the aisle. Wait for me because they'll start the clock as soon as you go up there, and we'll get beat for some time. But of course, in the heat of the moment, I was trying to get out, and poof, Donnie Markowitz and was up on stage, and the clock started ticking. But it was a surreal moment. I had a gentleman that told me, made the call for me to possibly write Time of My Life for the movie. And he said, make time, this is going to change your life. So that was part of my speech, was thanking Jimmy Iyer for changing my life. And I don't know, it was surreal. I floated up there. I don't remember walking up there.
Well, I'm going to just remind folks of the other nominated songs that night, because one of them was the very first nomination for Diane Warren, who's now had 13, and she's still waiting for her Oscar. So, like, next year, Diane. All right, so the other nominated songs that year were Cry Freedom from Cry Freedom, right? Oh. And Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, Diane's song from Mannequin. From Beverly Hills Cop 2, Shakedown. And let's see, was that that was a Bob Seger song, right?
Correct.
And then the Storybook Love from The Princess Bride.
Yeah, that was Mink DeVille, Willie DeVille.
Yeah. So that was a triumphant night for you guys.
Beyond my...
Go ahead, Frank.
No, I said just beyond my dream. So,
yeah, what I remember, first of all, going out to Hollywood, being from New York City, it's just a different vibe there. And it was kind of dreamlike. And watching all the other songs, they do each song, right? There's a moment during the show where they do the song. And our song was not really a full-blown production. It was kind of a small production. Cry Freedom was chorus walking through the aisles and people screaming and yelling, and ours was like this little thing. And I remember Frank and we looked at each other, we go, gee, I don't know, it's kind of a production. I can't imagine that we're the winners if they have such this little tiny thing. But the moment we were called up, as Frankie stated, by the time we got there, the clock was down a lot, and Frank being the pivot man for this through Jimmy Iyer was the first to speak, and he did a lot of thank yous, and then Don Markowitz did. And by the time I got up there, the clock was out. 0. And
that's my big fear that would happen to me.
Yeah, well, it did happen. But I at the moment my mom was in the hospital. It was a high and low period for me because she passed away 30 days from that night, but she was able to see that. And that was my only thing that I said. I just wanted to dedicate it to my mom who's in the hospital. And then afterwards, the parties were sort of kind of low key to me, coming from New York. And I know it was like, it was just like a kind of a, relaxed compared to what I expected. But I do have vivid memories of Burt Lancaster coming over to our table saying hi, Jack Nicholson coming over, it's your night, fellas, it's your night.
Come on, man, that's the best right there.
And then John Candy. So that was really, for me, the highlights was meeting those guys and a bit of John Candy was just so real and regular, and Burt Lancaster, being a hero of mine.
Yeah.
Those are my memories.
What was the moment when you guys knew that your lives were changing forever? Does it come down to a moment?
I think mine started before that night, because we were invited to a dinner beforehand, or a luncheon. And Samuel Goldwyn approached me and said, I have this movie called Mystic Pizza I'm working on, and I'd like you to write a song for it. And I'd like you to go speak to our musical director and maybe cut a deal with him now. And I just looked at him and I said, I'll wait.
No pressure.
I'll wait until afterwards. So I kind of had this feeling of, why is he approaching me now? And maybe something good is going to happen. So I just felt like, I'm going to wait to see what happens before I negotiate writing my next song. So that, that was kind of my vibe of what was going on, and, with meeting people. And I think my best memory was meeting Patrick Swayze and having a really good conversation with him, and having him tell me how much the movie and how much the song Time of My Life meant to him and the cast, because they had listened to 149 songs up to that day before they were going to film. And they actually rehearsed to a Lionel Richie song that was a, really good song, but not an original song. So they were kind of down on the movie, like, let's get this over with. And Emil Ardolino, who was the director, walked in and said, one more cassette. We have one more cassette, the 150th cassette. Let's listen to it. So they listened to it, and they all looked at each other and is this a great song, or are we desperate? And somebody went, both, So basically, he said, after filming, we all just looked at each other and went, what a great ending. Let's go make a movie. And he goes, it kind of saved the movie and the camaraderie we had for the movie.
Wow.
So that was a very special moment.
Yeah.
It was not easy, because Eleanor Bergstein, the woman that wrote the movie, had very specific ideas of what kind of music she wanted. She had picked out selected singles from her past, and you had to duplicate those, right? So she was pretty picky about the music that ended up in the movie.
Until Jimi Einer came in and took everything away, and then kind of gave her back what she originally was asking for, minus a couple of songs. But John, what do you remember about that?
Well, no, Eleanor, you're correct in that she had written all the 60s and 50s hits into the script. The Cry to Me, and all the big hits from the 50s and 60s that we all know, that were, Do You Love Me, and the rest. And it was Jimmy actually who said, well, in order to sell a soundtrack, we have to have some original songs, because you can always get those. I mean, yeah, it's a certain compilation, but we need songs that we can go to radio to create hits. These songs were already hits, the old ones, so we can't. So that was what Jimmy brought to it, and I don't think Eleanor objected to that. I don't think she had it in her mind, oh shoot, we're going to sell a soundtrack, I got to get hit songs other than those old songs. So,
but how did you so perfectly capture the moment with your lyrics? It's not just that the melody is just so stupendously outstanding, but the lyrics really capture that moment in the film. You hadn't been on the set. Had you read the screenplay? Like, how much did you know before you wrote those lyrics?
When Jimmy called me, it basically gave me like a 2-minute description. Johnny meets baby. The father doesn't like the kid. And so when I called John, and, Jimmy was like, we've listened to a lot of songs. And I said, Jimmy, I don't have time. I'm trying to get another deal. You decided to go into film and you shut your label. And I said, I don't have time. He goes, make time. This is going to change your life. And I'm like, yeah, right. You're going to change my life. And so he goes, no, it's a good little movie. And so very little of a description. And so when I called John, because he was the first person I thought of to help me with this project, I gave him an idea of, the good news is we got a chance to write a song. The bad news is it's for the last scene and it has to be 7 minutes long. So, you got to write MacArthur Park here. So, writing a 7-minute song is not the easiest thing in the world. So on the Garden State Parkway, exit 140, I took that cassette that John sent me and I pushed it into my dashboard and I started jamming. The time of my life, the time of my life, scribbling. I had the time of my life on an envelope. And really, the man upstairs wrote the lyrics, because Patrick said to me, it was like you were here watching us make this film, because those lyrics are incredibly close to what is going on in this movie. But that all was inspired by the music I was hearing that was sent from John. It all had to come together, all those parts, to create the lyrics.
Are you watching American Idol this season?
I don't ever watch that kind of stuff.
Okay, so there's a kid who's auditioning, and he just keeps saying, "I'm having the time of my life," and then they start playing the record, and everything goes into slow motion.
Right, I heard about that. I actually missed that, but I heard about it. And the three judges, Lionel Richie, isn't that funny, Frankie? Lionel Richie,
full
Katy
circle.
Perry, and I don't know who the third one is, but they started singing it, and then a little later in the show, they showed a commercial, and they played "A Time of My Life" for the show that was on next, which was I don't know, something in the movies. It was really good. I watched it. Derek Huff and his sister.
Oh, okay.
Did basically took all the old great dance movie scenes, Fred Astaire and whoever, Donald O'Connor, the famous, couch thing, that the couch going down and all that. And the closing song was, they finished the show with "The Time of My Life." And
wow.
Kenny Ortega was on. Frankie, did you see it?
I did not.
Kenny Ortega was on, and he was kind of sweet. He started crying, tearing up about it, and it was well done. The show was well done.
Okay.
Stacy, I want to talk about Kenny Ortega, because your connection to this film was more happenstance than the other two guys. Talk about meeting Kenny Ortega and Eleanor, the writer, at a barbecue at Patrick Swayze's, and what grew out of that.
Well, we actually already had "She's Like the Wind" written. We'd written it 2 years prior to the movie for a different movie called Grandview, USA. When I was at that barbecue, I remember talking to Eleanor, who was then demonstrating some of the dance moves that she pictured on Kenny. And that was pretty interesting, because she was really grinding on him. And so it was kind of funny. Yeah, so everybody was, incredibly nice. And this was prior to the movie being shot or anything. And but the way my song came about was, as you mentioned, Patrick, whom I knew as Buddy, friends and family called him Buddy. We met in his acting class, and then discovered that we lived around the block from each other. And he and his wife and I and my then girlfriend, Wendy Fraser, who ended up singing on "She's Like the Wind." She's the woman that comes in toward the end. We all became friends, and he knew I was writing music for television, mostly daytime at that point. And he called me up one day and said, "I have this idea for a song. They're looking for songs for Grandview. Do you want to work on it with me?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, come on over." So that evening he came around the block with his guitar, and I was at my piano, and he sang me he had two chords that he just played over and over again. But a lot of interesting listing, like what I call listing lyrics. So, going through things. And the first two lines intrigued me, which were "She's like the wind through my tree. She rides the night next to me." But then I didn't like the third and fourth lines, and he got a little defensive. And he said, "Well, what would you do? What would you say?" And I said, just off the top of my head, I said, "She leads me through moonlight only to burn me with the sun." And so he said, "What does that mean?" And I said, "I don't care, just write it down." And, because we are craftsmen, we take our craft very seriously. So it was like, just write it down. And then I moved it someplace musically in the, "Feel Her Breath on My Face." And then when we realized that "She's Like the Wind" was more than just the opening line, that it was also the hook for the song, that's when we really had something. And the smart thing that we did was we did a really good demo of it with him singing it, Wendy on it. I brought in a guitarist. I programmed all the synth tracks. And So even though it was dropped from Grandview, which turned out to be a blessing, 2 years later, he was on the set of Dirty Dancing in North Carolina, and he played them the demo, and they wanted it. And that's when he called me from North Carolina saying, they want it. And my reaction was, are you sure they're not just jerking you around because you're the star of the movie? And he said, no, they're serious. They want you to call this guy, Jimmy Einer, who Frankie was talking about before. And so I got on the phone with Jimmy that night, and that's when it all started to solidify.
I just want to ask one further thing, Wheezy, if I could, while we're on
sure.
the topic, talking about demos. Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes recorded it at the time of my life, and I think it's one of the most played records in American radio history, or some insane record there. But many folks, particularly people involved in the movie, thought that your demo of that song was even better than the final recording of it because it was truer to the emotion and less complicated. And so I bet that happens a lot, where the demo is better than the produced version, but the person that did the demo isn't famous enough to sell a single or something like that. I just bet that happens, and it's soul crushing.
I think that having the Bill Medley sing "Time of My Life," obviously they filmed the movie to the demo, so they had what I call demo-itis. They got so used to hearing that demo that and that moment happened for them with that demo that saved their movie. So it became very protective of that demo. And then for me to have a Righteous Brother sing one of my songs, one of my heroes growing up, it was like an unbelievable moment for me. And, I think the really, the plus side of it was that the demo isn't much different than Bill Medley's version, except Bill just sang it down an octave, because he was like, how am I going to hit those high notes? He's a tenor. And they just said, lower it an octave. So they kept it in the same key, and Bill Medley did his lower the octave thing. And he was the thread, the 1963-64 thread that connected that 1987 contemporary music back to the era of when that movie was depicted. And so it kind of made the connection of 1963 to 1987 with his voice. That's how.
Yeah, and if I can interject, Patrick or Buddy or Patrick repeatedly told me how much better the demo was. He said, you should have heard the original demo. The original demo was just great. And so it's not like he was disappointed in the final version, but he was really a big fan of that demo.
So you guys have plans for the demos, right?
John and I and Donnie for the past 30 years have been selling the demo on Facebook, Dirty Dancing Demos, and we donate the proceeds to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network in Patrick Swayze's honor. So that's what we've been doing. Nice. The demo, Time of My Life, Hungry Eyes, and also a third song that's in the stage play called Someone Like You.
That you wrote.
All of the proceeds go.
Yes, go to Pancreatic Cancer Action Network.
Oh, that's wonderful. So are you guys ready to play some Dirty Dancing trivia?
Sure. Sure.
I go around the house, and I drive my son, who's not living with us anymore, but my wife and son, when he's around, I drive them nuts with lines from the movie. Whatever's happening at that day, at that moment, I somehow answer it with a Dirty Dancing line. So
okay. So good. You're a front runner here. Okay.
Maybe.
All right. So place your bets. Place your bets. What did Eleanor Bergstein order the dancers not to do for at least 6 months after the end of filming?
Not to do.
Not to do. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if there was any way for her to enforce this, but this was her.
Was it to not do any type of dirty dancing?
Well, I guess on breaks they were really kind of doing a lot of engagement in a
dry humping.
Yeah, they were dry humping. Yeah, dry humping to music.
Not
And
have
then-
a relationship,
Don't have it.
not have a relationship with each
And
other.
so she said, yes, exactly. You can't have sex for 6 months. So she wanted to create this kind of like sexual tension.
Before the movie.
Yeah. While they were filming. Yeah.
Hey, that was a good idea. And that's so Eleanor.
Like she thinks she could police that. All right, next question. Had Patrick Swayze previously worked with Joel Grey?
No, he'd worked with Jennifer Grey.
Okay, yes, he worked with Jennifer Grey. What film, Stacy?
Red Dawn.
Good. Well, in 1975, Jennifer Grey's father, Joel Grey, starred in a very short-lived Broadway musical, Good Time Charlie, about the son of Charlemagne. One of the ensemble dancers, according to the Playbill program for that show, was Patrick Swayze.
Wow.
Wow, that's good trivia.
It's pretty good trivia. This is all, I culled this from IMDb. I recommend this website. It's very helpful. Had Patrick Swayze and Cynthia Rhodes ever previously worked together?
I'm going to go with a no.
You're going to go with no? Well, according to IMDb, Patrick Swayze and Cynthia Rhodes previously worked together in the music video for Toto's song Rosanna.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I might have heard that.
So that's findable with a YouTube search.
Well, it's interesting because when I've seen that video,
Yeah.
I almost look at it as a precursor to Dirty Dancing.
Do
Because the dancing, the style of the dancing is so similar.
You know if Penny did it?
I don't know. I don't know, but it really is the way the guys are dressed in black t-shirts and kind of the 80s hair.
Yeah.
And whenever I see that video, it's like,
Evocative.
oh, okay, I see a stylistic through line here.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. This one, I think you guys are going to know. What is Baby's real name?
Jennifer Grey.
No.
Grey.
Fran-
I have to give you that.
Francis.
Frances Houseman.
Yes,
Yeah.
Frankie.
Named after she wanted to say named after the first lady, which is Eleanor. But
Right.
Eleanor's sister's name was Frances.
Right. So she's named after the first woman in the cabinet.
Right,
Frances C. Perkins was the U.S. Secretary of Labor from 1933 to 1947, was appointed by President FDR during his first term and served throughout all 4 of his terms and 2 years into Harry Truman's presidency. So you guys have done pretty well with Dirty Dancing trivia. Is there any other trivia that we should know, that you guys know, that's more like music-based trivia?
Yeah, the fact that, like I mentioned, Wendy was on the final version as well and did a great job on it. Just on a personal note, she and I, after 8 years together, split up 3 weeks before the single was released of She's Like the Wind.
Oh, my God.
So there was actually a moment that I had where she and I were yelling at each other a few months later over the phone, and She's Like the Wind came on the radio in my neighbor's apartment.
Oh my God.
So she and I are yelling at each other, and I'm counting down the bars till she starts singing. And finally I said, I have to hang up now. And so she said, why? And I said, because my life has become a B movie and I've provided my own underscore. And then
That was in the moment? You were able to deliver that line?
yes,
That is
the way-
heroic. That is
the way my-
heroic. But she
So,
actually turned out to be like the wind, which is like blowing my mind.
Yeah. But she was a phenomenal singer. And she's also, here's a bit of trivia. The music video for She's Like the Wind was directed by David Fincher, who then became
Oh, wow.
a successful director. And he projected scenes of the film onto a moving curtain and shot it that way in black and white. And then toward the end, when Wendy starts singing, she actually does appear in the video.
I would like to hear a little backstory of a 24-year-old writing the theme song for Richard Simmons. Because I don't picture it where you just drop it off and they're like, thanks. I picture there being some kind of feedback from Mr. Simmons.
Well, yes, matter of fact, there was. What happened was I was still living in New York at the time, and Wendy and I were living together. I was writing music for a studio in Stamford, Connecticut for industrial shows, educational projects, and all this. I'd started composing and getting paid for it when I was 19.
Wow.
So I'd been playing clubs since I was 15. But anyway, so Wendy's father, Woody Fraser, who's a very famous producer, produced the Richard Simmons Show. And he and I met in New York. He was visiting Wendy, and we got along really well. And he heard music of mine that I was writing for this studio. And he says, this stuff is really, really good. And so Wendy called him and says, is there anything that Stacy can submit on that you're doing? And he said, well, I've got this new show. Why don't the two of you work on it? See if you can come up with a theme for it. But here's the deal. I'm not giving it to you. I have to like it. My wife, Nora, has to like it, who was co-producing. The syndicator has to like it, which was, I believe, was KTLA, where we were shooting it, where they shot it. And then the star has to like it. And so if you can fulfill all four of those conditions, then you get it. And so Wendy and I came up with an initial idea, and she had a couple of things to add. And we did we called him, Woody, and played it for him over the phone with me at the piano and Wendy doing do 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 do. And there was this pause when we finished, it was 30-second theme, and he just said, "Wow, that's really good." And then he said, "Nora, get over here." And so we played it for Nora, and she said, "Wow, that's really good." So we had two, and then he said, "Make a cassette and send it immediately. See if you can overnight it." And we did. And then he called us, a couple of days later. He says, "Richard loves it, and the syndicator loves it. We booked you on a flight to LA for next week. We're putting together 6 of the best session musicians in town, and you'll cut the theme at Paramount Studios."
Oh my gosh.
So,
Wow.
so pretty crazy. And then when the show
24
became,
years old.
yeah, 24. But again, I'd been working at it for 5 years already. And when the show became a hit, unexpectedly, that was when Wendy and I, a year later, realized we needed to move to LA, and that's when we did. And that's when I started watching Fritz Coleman do my weather.
And your life got better instantly. Now, let me ask you a question, Stacy, and it's a personal question, and you can just tell me to buzz off. But when you write, and I'm this is the Paul Anka question, because I asked him the same thing about writing the theme for the Johnny Carson show. When you write a theme for a television show, does your participation in royalties continue in perpetuity until the show's over, or do you get bought off in the beginning? I'm just fascinated by the money aspect of that.
I never did a buyout. I knew the business well enough, and I had a great deal of perhaps unnecessary value in what I brought to the table. So I had a big view of that. So I never did a buyout. And to this day, I'm with BMI. So on my BMI royalty statements, 40 something years later, I still see the Richard Simmons Show theme turn up.
All right, you brought up BMI. I want to bring up Ascap, and sitting behind Frankie is the Ascap Award. Now, you've had an Oscar, you've had Grammy nominations, you had a Golden Globe, but for a songwriter, the Ascap Award has special significance. Frankie, talk about that, because that's being accepted by your peers, and it means something more historic. Talk about it.
Well, Ascap is really a company like BMI. They're an administrator of finding out how many people in the world are playing your song and collecting a royalty for you. And they take an admin fee, an administration fee for doing it. So that year, Time of My Life won the Ascap Song of the Year, means the most played song in the world. And I think it sits in that Ascap sent me this email saying, here's the top 20 songs ever. And so number 1 was Happy Birthday. Number 5 was My Girl. And number 15 was Time of My Life.
Oh my God.
Patrick and I won BMI awards as well. We got one set of awards as for their film and TV awards night for most played song from a film or TV show. And then the next night we won a Pop Award which was great. And he came to that one. He didn't go to the film and TV one, but he came with me to the Pop Awards, and that was a great evening.
Oh,
Yeah.
what were you going to say, John?
Oh, I was just going to say Hungry Eyes was number 2 that year. It was Time of My Life and Hungry Eyes.
Wow.
Most played songs for ASCAP that year.
Wow.
And I'm curious, even though, Stacy, you had been writing television themes, this was the first time you guys had songs in a motion picture. Talk about seeing the movie for the first time with an audience and what that was like.
Yeah, John.
Well, we had seen a kind of a preview before they edited it down. That's the first time I saw it on the big screen. I think it was the Ziegfeld Theater. And, it wasn't the public. It was people involved in the movie and whatever. It was, right. It was pre-release. And it was a lot hotter. It was definitely an R-rated, what we saw. And it was good, but it wasn't like, it was, a little bit long and a little bit, I don't know. And then the next time I saw it was when it was taken off, and it was up. I remember in my apartment on 84th and Broadway. I was the theater over there, and it was jammed. And that was the first time I saw, it in its new edit, the final edit, which was PG-13. And it was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable moment. Goosebumps when I think about it. And, one thing I noted was at the end of it, first of all, everybody seemed to be loving it. And at the end of it, there were a lot of people, certainly the people in front of me were sitting there waiting for the credits. And then I saw them go, oh, they're at the time of my life. That's it, the time of my life. So I knew then people were digging the song. So, and
it's not a movie
John,
it's not a movie that people saw once. This is before you could record anything. People went over and over again. Is that what you guys were finding?
There's a club called the 1,000 Club of people that have seen it 1,000 times. But Stacy, when was the first time you saw it?
First time I saw it was at the cast and crew screening in LA.
It was edited though at that point?
It was edited. It was fully edited. Okay. But the word on the street, really, this is why I was not very excited about having the song in the movie, really. The word on the street had been, this is a terrible movie. It's going to go straight to video after opening the theater. It'll be in the theater for a week. And because it was Vestron Pictures, which only did videos up until that point, the plan was it's going to go to video. And so I remember Wendy and I walking out of the theater, and we turned to each other and said, that was actually pretty good. That wasn't nearly as bad as everybody was saying it was.
What's kind of funny is that Vestron also was a company that did porn movies. Yeah. So, when Jimmy, first said to me, I said, what's the name of the movie? And he said, Dirty Dancing. I was like, oh no, he's doing a porn. So, thinking all of this, and then I was also, I had heard it was going to come out and go right to VHS in about a week. Within that, 300,000 people back ordered the record. And by the time RCA could print a record, 1 million records were back ordered. So Joe Public made Dirty Dancing happen. It wasn't Vestron Films. It wasn't RCA Records. It was Joe Public.
Yeah, because it was,
and Frankie, the story you brought it up, how quickly they printed the records. Also, you guys were supposed to get a gold record for selling 500,000 copies, and somebody wasn't getting their gold record in time, and you called and asked about it. And he said because it just went platinum, we got to redo it.
That happened to me. Michael Lloyd, who produced both Time of My Life and She's Like the Wind, he called me and said, oh, you're getting a gold record. And I really wasn't in the record business. I was in the film and TV business and writing music. So I was thrilled. I was like, oh boy, a gold record. This is fantastic. And then, like maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks went by, and didn't get it, and I didn't really know how it worked. So I called Michael and I said, when do I get the gold record? And he said, well, you're not getting a gold record. And so I was like, why? You told me I'm getting a gold record. He says, well, because now you're getting a platinum record.
And Patrick brought it over, right?
Patrick brought it. By the time we finally did get our records, they were triple platinum. And both of mine and Patrick's went to his house, Rancho Bizarro, north of the city. And so he called me and he said, I have your record. Are you going to be home tomorrow? And obviously he knew where I lived because he used to live around the block. And a lot of people in the neighborhood still knew him. So the next late morning, I hear this commotion outside and this honking and this yelling. And I go out and there's a stretch limo coming down my block where my apartment was. And he's standing up out of the moonroof, holding my record up over his head. And he's yelling, I want everybody on Orange Street to know that your neighbor, Stacy Widelitz, is getting a triple platinum record for the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. And I'm just standing there, stunned. But it speaks to the type of person that he was also, that he was a very, very generous and also very funny soul. I mean, it just amused him no end to do that.
Oh, that's
And
perfect.
if you look behind Stacy, they sent him another one of those platinum records, except this time it was 10 million.
Well, 11.
My God.
11.
That's
Oh, okay.
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't undersell it. It's 11.
But it ended up selling over 40 million.
So do you
Worldwide.
guys, do people keep track of Spotify streams, or what do people keep track of now?
That
You
that's
guys
it.
are all aggravated. Okay, I
Yeah.
want to hear more.
Well, Spotify. It's tracked by BMI and Performing Rights Associations. I also have a company called Audiam that tracks YouTube performances and sends me a check a month for that. But Spotify is, it's criminal that it's an incredibly wealthy company with incredibly wealthy executives that pays a pittance to the people that allow them
Fractions of
to live.
0.007 of a penny.
No. Thousandth. 0.0002.
And one of you guys recommends that if you want to support an artist, it's important for you not just to stream their song on Spotify, but go out and buy the record. That's how you support the artist.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go, Chris.
Even if you buy the single on Apple, that's better because at least they're getting, the mechanical royalty. So
Right.
that's a better, and I try to do that myself. And I actually took Spotify out of my computer. If I'm
Okay.
going to stream something, I'll stream it on Apple or even maybe on Amazon, which also pays better than Spotify.
I often quote this number. It changes quarter to quarter, but almost every time I look, I'll have about 13 million streams in 3 months, right? 13 million streams.
Yeah, that makes sense.
15 million streams, up and down. And I'll get like $500.
Holy
God.
cow, that's just wrong.
Now, if a new band coming out that probably very excited to get 200,000 streams, that would be awesome, right? You're talking like $1 or $2.
It's interesting that there's no money in it, but is the data interesting to you in that when people bought a record, you didn't know how often they played it, but now you can quantify how often someone is playing a piece of music. Is that at all interesting, or you're just so outraged by the revenue?
I guess that's one way to look at it, but if it doesn't do the writer any good,
Right.
really, what who cares?
You can't eat data.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
I love that, Stacy. Can we put that on T-shirt?
Yes.
And John, you had an interesting comment, which sort of speaks to the magic of Dirty Dancing, and that is that a hit song drives the movie, and the movie drives the song. So it was the miracle of those two working in tandem for Dirty Dancing.
I would say that I'd reverse that, but yes, the movie at first was what everybody was responding to, then the song sort of took over and it would drive people to the theater.
Right. And the song also evokes those feelings of watching the film and how happy it made you and how much it resonated with you. And so it just becomes kind of all wrapped together in this quilt. It's just warm and wonderful.
It's the culmination of all the parts, creating a phenomenon. You take out Patrick Swayze or Jennifer or the song or the little, story of Jennifer and Bill Medley singing. All those parts, created this phenomenon. And I think if you pull out one of those parts, the song or Patrick, you don't have the same end result.
Can you talk a little bit about that collaboration between Bill and Jennifer when they recorded your song?
Well, I think that Bill didn't want to sing another duet. He had to be talked into, coming out to California or going to New York, wherever he was. He was having a child. His wife was having a child, and he really didn't want anything to do with singing another duet or this particular song for the movie. And I think it took several tries. I think Kenny Ortega was a close friend with Bill, and he always wanted to kind of sing with Jennifer Warren, and so they figured, well, let me see if Jennifer Warren wants to do it, and maybe that'll sway him. And I guess eventually they had the child, and Jennifer Warren was going to sing on the song, and it kind of coerced him to come out. And then, like I said, he listened to the song and he goes, how the hell am I going to sing this song? Listen to that guy's voice. He's way the hell up there. I can't hit those notes.
Yeah.
And so
you sent me that thing the other day of Bill Medley talking about it. He said exactly the same thing you did. Oh no, it's a porn movie, Dirty Dancing. It's a porn movie. He said exactly that same thing.
Talk about what you're doing with We Will Yacht You. And some upcoming plans for all three of you guys would be great to hear.
Well, the We Will Yacht You thing is really Ken Franklin, who actually is an agent that booked us on your show. And he's putting together kind of a yacht rock concerts. And yacht rock is kind of all 80s music. And there's actually bands called yacht rock, and there's channels on radio called Yacht Rock. And so he called me up, and he had a disc jockey from iHeartRadio out in Dayton, Ohio, call me. And his name was Jeff Stone and Jeff Stevens. And Jeff said, listen, I'm a big Frankie and the Knockouts fan, and I would love to record your song, Sweetheart. And I said, go ahead, man, go record it. Have fun. He goes, no, I want you to sing on it with me. And so I did so. And on Valentine's Day, we released Sweetheart. And it debuted number 64 on the AC charts. So Jeff said, why don't you come out? I'm going to have Bill Champlin from Chicago, keyboard player who wrote, Hard Habit to Break and all these great songs. I'm going to have him come out, and you and my band, Stranger, his band is called Stranger, and let's do a concert. And so I did that on Valentine's Day. And then they rebooked us to come out this summer in August to redo another yacht rock show with Bill Champlin and myself and Stranger. So, it's kind of a thing that Ken Franklin is putting together, and I'm just going along for the ride, keeping my feet moving.
And Frank, you also produce shows like Taylor, Simon, and King, which is about James Taylor, Carly Simon, and Carole King. And how does that work? And is that still an active process for you?
It is. We just sold out for the third time the Count Basie's Vocal Theater in Red Bank, New Jersey. Show played a week ago Saturday. And it's a celebration of three American troubadours, James Taylor, Carly Simon, Carole King. And one of the lead singers is my wife, Sherman, who is a former Rockette. And
wow.
She was in several Broadway shows, West Side Story and a lot of other shows. And she had her own TV show in New Zealand for 9 years. And so Lisa's one of the singers, along with Mary McCrink, who is kind of like an Irish folk singer. She takes these songs and really does her own thing to a lot of Carole King songs. And then Byron Crawford Smith is the gentleman who does a lot of the James Taylor stuff. And it's such an interesting feeling being in a room watching people of our age sing along with every song. And it's kind of like the soundtrack of their lives, listening to all of these like unbelievable songs. It's a 10-piece band. So there's it's a mini orchestra. And sometimes it breaks down to just like a violin and an acoustic guitar and a voice. And then pieces come in and out. We orchestrated it. So it has this dynamic kind of feeling to take the audience. And there's like videos of different moments in Carly's life with James and different things with Carole King and James Taylor and how the three of their lives connected. And it's a show that I really am passionate about now. And, helping my wife, it's kind of neat to be able to do that as well.
Oh gosh, yeah, really cool. And what are you up to next? Oh, go ahead, Fritzy. You have a question?
No, I just wanted to say that John, you have your own indie label, and talk about who records with you.
Well, if you remember Moby Grape,
yeah,
from the 60s, okay. Peter Lewis, I've done a couple of records with Peter. Peter is Loretta Young's son.
Wow.
We're going back a ways, but in fact, I'm working on some stuff with Peter at the moment for his second record, and the first record was his songs, and now we're writing some songs together for his next record. And his daughter Arwen, we did a record. That was the first record we did, actually. We did 12 Moby Grape songs with Arwen singing, so a female perspective on Moby Grape songs. Some people may not know Moby Grape. It's very influential 60s, San Francisco 60s band, but
boomers know who they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
They do or they don't? You think
They do, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, they're sort of the unsung heroes, You'll talk to Robert Plant, is one of the biggest. Moby Grape is one of his biggest influences. Little Steven, a huge influence on him. So they're all, Beck has also been very influenced. So that's them. And the band that I worked with years ago called The Size. They were in the 90s, around the time of like mid 90s. But they were always a power pop band, so they kind of struggled against the Nirvana, type, Nirvana grunge thing. Who's the other band I'm thinking of? Also grunge at the same time. So they suffered then. But 20 years later, we did a new record here in the barn. I have a barn upstate New York, and so we did that record. And then for some unknown reason, actually I know the reason. There was another song Frankie and I wrote called "You're the Only One." It was in a movie by Sylvester Stallone, which was entitled Avenging Angelo. And we had the song in the movie. A guy named Steve Holy sang it, but it was never released to the public, just in the movie. It was in the movie. It was never came out as a song. So I in my studio, decided to start tracking that song in hopes of getting somebody else to cover it, because I thought it was a great song and I had it in my mind a certain way. And when it came time to put a vocal on it, I just tried my own voice on it and people responded well to it. So that turned into the Why Because, which were songs that I had written for other people, 4 of them with Frankie for other artists. And I did that. And then, in fact, you talked about Maroon 5. The bass player from Maroon 5 played bass on a song that I had written with John Waite and Keith Reed from Procol Harum. And then during the pandemic, I came out every day to the barn and I just followed that record with a new record called She Said, and it's all new songs I had written for me, which is the first time I'd ever done that, written songs for me.
Wow.
So that's out now. I just put that out in November and just putting the songs out.
It's really worth checking out because, there's this other side of John that nobody knew, and I don't think he even knew. and he got introduced to himself by doing the
I love that.
What a great line.
It is kind of true. I mean, I that was the reason, really, the second record I wanted to do. The first record revealed something, but again, those were songs written for others. It did give me a voice. The second record told me who I was as an artist, which I kind of,
very interesting.
I'm kind of happy with it.
Right.
Which is
Stacy, you've had a great career, and are you still the chairman of the Nashville Opera Association?
Well, I'm past president of National Film Festival, past president of Grammy-nominated Alias Chamber Ensemble, past president of Leadership Music, past president of National Opera, and I'm the current president of the Nashville Opera Guild.
Wow.
And then, as you mentioned, I served 4 years as commissioner in Oak Hill, 2 of those years as vice mayor.
That's what I was going to say. You seem way too cool to be a politician. That just shocked me when I read
well,
that about you.
4 years was enough. It was although a total of, I also served on the planning commission, which was hysterical. When they asked me to join the planning commission, I said, I'm a college dropout composer and songwriter. I know nothing about stormwater runoff. But they still put me on there.
Underachiever makes good. I support that completely.
I learned a lot, but it's, but yeah, my new thing is a little bit of an unexpected journey in that in 2015, I went to Italy for a songwriter workshop, and I bought a new camera. And I started taking black and white photos of people in street photography, and it became a thing. And I just actually won my 4th international award for my photography.
Can people see your work online?
Yeah, if they go to stacywidelitz.com or Stacy Widelitz on Instagram, it's all, I use Instagram only for my work. And it's really fun. I'm getting another show, a second show of my photography at a great new gallery here called Prima Signa Gallery that handles Helmut Newton and Slim Aarons and me. So it's quite an honor, and again, totally unexpected and just really fun.
Now you have to turn individual pictures into NFTs and become a billionaire in like 7 days.
Yeah, I just actually heard a whole thing on NPR about NFTs.
I still don't understand it. I just said that because I heard it in the conversation.
They're kind of imploding on themselves.
Really?
Oh, is that true?
Well,
Damn.
first explain what they are, and then explain why the implosion.
Well, the NFT is really not anything physical. It's a file that you can claim ownership to after having bought it. And it's just like this digital presence that you say, well, I own this, but it doesn't mean that it's an actual picture that's hanging or a piece of music, or it's a digital file. And when it first started, I think there was this, and it's all related to blockchain and all of this stuff.
My head explodes.
Became like the thing of the moment when it first appeared, because there was one guy that suddenly made $7 million.
Okay.
An artist from an NFT. And because everybody started jumping on it, now people are saying, yeah, I sold this piece as an NFT. Well, for $100. So it's not like it's something that's bought by the appreciator of a work of art. You're buying a digital file of some sort. So it's not like you're buying a Degas because you love Degas and the dancers, and you're putting your house.
It's a scam. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is hypothetical money. It's not money. I tell people that Bitcoin is like my sex life. It only exists online.
So, but when you're describing an NFT, what I'm picturing is that there's 2 factors at play here: pride of ownership and also an investment potential, right? Yeah. So in the art world, people, connoisseurs of fine art, love to show everybody their wonderful taste. So is it playing on those yearnings, or
it's similar, but you can't even point at it on your wall, as I was saying.
You point at it on the computer, though.
Yeah.
Point at it on the computer, but
but it's kind of unsustainable in that I think art is meant to sort of exist in our physical spaces, right?
Well, that's my feeling. That's a little bit old school, but that's my feeling. But music exists in digital spaces.
Of course, but it goes from the digital space into our very beings, into our cellular structure.
Your ears.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it just changes the way you feel. And I guess art is meant to do that as well. All right, it's a complicated conversation. Yeah. So
I knew this hour was going to go way too fast.
Yeah. Tell us where we can find each of you online, and then we'll include all of those links in our show notes. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, for me, my website is stacywidelitz.com. You'll see the home page is a black and white photo from 1989 of me, Patrick, and Gloria Estefan, the night that we won our BMI Pop Awards. Oh. And then on Instagram you can see photography on the website, but I keep my Instagram updated, and that's just at Stacy Widelitz, all is one word. And it's, like I have a photo up there now that I took in Memphis a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. So it's kept current. And Frankie?
Basically, for me, when people ask me where you can find me, I go to, the Dirty Dancing demos because I want to kind of push that charity. So on Facebook, Dirty Dancing demos, you can own a piece of Dirty Dancing history if you're a fan. And you can see all the things that I post about different films and little segments of. In fact, somebody recently sent me about a minute clip of the actual day they filmed the last scene with John and Donnie's demo playing "Time of My Life" in the background. So that's on there.
Oh, that's great.
So you can go listen to that, and while you're there, you can purchase all the original demos that go to pancreatic cancer. And then the other thing is TaylorSimonKing.com. That's the show that I'm producing. And you can see all about that show. And there's some EPKs, electronic press kits, and you can see little bits about that show there. And that's really my life.
Wonderful.
That's awesome. John?
And John?
Yeah, OMAD Records, OMAD, which comes from Ordinary Madness, Charles Bukowski. OMADrecords.com or DeNicola.com. And OMAD, of course, is all the artists on my label, and JohnDeNicola.com will tell you about me.
All right.
Go check out Hungry. It's really worth listening to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Version.
Yeah, and the video version on YouTube there's a video version where during the height of the pandemic, I had people just put a mask on and film themselves with their phone, and there's a bunch of edits of that, of people with their
expression with your eyes, speaking with your eyes.
Right.
Yes, cool. Absolutely. All right,
well,
Fritz.
We had some great memories today from, I knew that an hour just wasn't going to be enough, and we're so thankful that we got to visit with Frankie Previtt, John DeNicola, and Stacy Widelitz, and congratulate them on their really miraculous accomplishment with the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. Just a great conversation, guys. We appreciate you so much.
We would love for you to join us online on Instagram and Twitter, where we are at MediaPath Pod, and on Facebook, where our show page is MediaPath Podcast, and our Facebook group is MediaPath with Fritz and Wheezy Podcast Community. You can find full episodes with all kinds of bonus visual content on our YouTube channel, MediaPath Podcast. We would love to know what media you have been enjoying. You can contact us at our social media or email us at mediapathpodcast@gmail.com. We want to thank our guests, Frankie Previtt, John DeNicola, Stacy Widelitz. Our team includes Dina Friedman, Francesco Damanda, John Maddox, Sharon Bellio, Bill Filipiak, Thomas Hubble, Mason Brown, and you. Our theme music is by me and John Maddox. I am Louise Palanker here with Fritz Coleman, and we will see you along the media path.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah, that was fun.
I always learn something new. I didn't know you went to barbecue with Eleanor back then.